What 6 sacks of elders are there? 6 sacks. Han Ling smiled. That's right, our beggar gang is based on sacks and wealth festivals, which means status and identity, you see. She took out the wealth festival, only to see that it was made of red thread, like a butterfly and like a camellia. This kind of festival can only be played by the helper and the 9 bags elder. Xiaoxie was very interested in this, and he asked, "How many bags do you have?" Han Ling said, "There are as many knots as bags, the highest is 10 bags, the power of the gang leader is the greatest, but it is not necessarily 10 bags of elders, and if the 10 bags of elders agree to abolish the gang leader, then a meeting will have to be held." Xiaoxie smiled and said, "I made 11 bags to hang that day, it must be very windy. Is also self-intoxicated, and can control all the beggars." Han Ling smiled, "It's useless for you to hang 30, the sack is a symbol of our beggar gang, you are not a disciple of the beggar gang, no one will care how many you hang up." Xiaoxie smirked, "It's enjoyable. Also, what kind of kung fu do you have that is the best in the world?" Han Ling Huan smiled and said, "I have this kind of kung fu, who dares to say that I have the best kung fu in the world?" The little evil whispered over his shoulders and said angrily, "Who said no? I am the best in the world." "You?" Han Ling was a little unconvinced. She thought that Xiaoxie was talking nonsense again. "Yes, what's there to doubt? Then you say come and listen, those 2 kung fu are the best in the world." Xiaoxie said proudly, "My running skills and gambling skills are the first in the world." Han Lingqi said, "Running skills? I haven't heard of this kind of kung fu. It's the kung fu that ran to the mountain to chase." Han Ling giggled and said, "It turned out to be a kung fu that ran for others to chase, I thought it was that big kung fu." Xiaoxie didn't like this kung fu very much, and he said, "Han girl, I tell you that my kung fu has no predecessors. I want to take in apprentices, and I can't say that there will be no one after me. This is the culmination of the world's martial arts, and it has been practiced after decades of training, and you actually underestimate it." Han Ling smiled, "You are only 10 years old, so you have practiced kung fu for 10 years. When Xiaoxie heard this, he secretly said, "Wow! The cowhide is broken." But he was born with a set, he said, "You don't understand this. What is my old man and me not decades? This kung fu needs to be practiced by 2 people, he has to use a golden needle to open my A-cup ointment, and then he wants to beat me half to death, and then heal me to life, and chase me every day. Don't you think it will take decades to succeed? Kung fu has been perfected." Han Ling knew that no matter how much she said, she couldn't say anything about him. She said, "Anyway, it's useless for you to practice, run to the grave to chase, what's it?" The little evil exclaimed, "Yes, you actually despise my kung fu, and you will know my harm when I perform it later." Han Ling said, "What's so good about running to chase others? I can't run myself. It depends on you to run, save it." Xiaoxie suddenly said angrily, "You don't believe in evil." Smack! He had slapped Han Ling and stood up to run away. Han Ling touched her pink cheeks and exclaimed, "You! What am I like?" Smack! He slapped Han Ling again, reflexively laughed, and ran forward, screaming around the big pine trees in front of him. Han Ling chased after her in a fit of anger. The 2 of them ran away and chased under the tree. Poor Han Ling had feet that were difficult to chase, and she was slapped from time to time, so she had to cry when she was angry. Xiaoxie stopped and said, "See if you dare to ignore my running skills in the future. What's wrong with chasing people? People don't run in the first place to chase the second place, and if you can't catch up with the talent, you won't lose your face. Okay, don't cry, I'll let you fight back." He stretched out his head to let Han Ling beat. Smack! Han Ling slapped the mango on the little evil head fiercely and shouted, "If you want to perform, you shouldn't come to find it, you see. It is hard to see how hard it is to see the beating of the graves." Xiaoxie touched his head and smiled bitterly, "Okay, okay, find someone else to find someone else, you wait for me to go, you can come." He jumped down the official road and ran towards the village. Han Ling hurriedly said, "Where do you want to throw it?" Xiaoxie shouted from afar, "I'll go find someone to chase me, you wait for me to come back immediately." With that, he had vanished. Han Ling thought to herself, "Who will chase him?" He saw that the little evil had disappeared, so he sat at the entrance of the temple and waited for him. As soon as Han Ling sat down and hadn't taken a few bites of dried fish, she heard Yang Xiaoxie's urgent scream, "Hurry! Han Ling, run, run, run! There is danger!" Han Ling didn't have time to open her mouth, the little evil had already swept in front of her, and as soon as she pulled her little hand, she ran up the mountain. Han Ling shouted, "What's the matter? Why did you run to the mountain to chase me?" Xiaoxie smiled bitterly, "Fuck, look at the back, the damn thing is coming. If you don't run, you'll really die here." There was nervousness and helplessness in the wry smile. Han Ling looked behind her, and 6 black-clothed masked men were catching up, and she asked, "Who are they?" The little evil shouted, "Killer, if you want to kill me, run, win." The 2 of them ran up the mountain. "Wow Ka! King," the little evil one shouted, "there are also pursuers ahead." He pulled Han Ling row and immediately changed to the left, but this one, the slow black turban killer, has caught up and surrounded the 2 in the center. Xiaoxie said secretly, "It's really unlucky that my old man wanted to go to the village to find someone to chase me, but he died in a ready-made toilet, and there are a few more characters in this time." He smiled and said, "A few brothers don't come to harm. I must miss me very much. I came to report good news so early in the morning, I am really my good brother." Han Ling saw that more than a dozen people in black surrounded him, and he was still in the mood to joke, so he hurriedly pulled his clothes, suggesting that he should not come. Xiaoxie whispered, "Wait a minute, you can run when you do it, leave me alone, they can't beat me." Xiaoxie knows that he doesn't have much chance of winning today, and if he adds Han Ling, he has to lose, so he asks Han Ling to run first, and he has more chances to get out. Han Ling nodded knowingly to indicate that she understood. Xiaoye shouted at the black turban killer, "Everyone, you are from that unit, I will name you, 8. He roared, and immediately someone replied, "Yes, the answer must be that 8. Xiaoxie and Han Ling couldn't help but laugh. As soon as the number 8 heard it, he knew that he was used to the term number 8, and now when people called it, he naturally replied yes. He was fooled but did not attack. Xiaoxie smiled and suddenly said secretly, "It's over, these are all talking, they must be captain level, and their martial arts are even stronger, no wonder I pulled Han Ling away, and I will be surrounded by them, but why don't they besiege it yet? Yes, they are probably waiting for the people they command. As soon as he thought of this, Xiaoxie immediately grabbed a palm and slashed at the black turban killer on the right, and pushed Han Ling out. Black market killers are not lagging behind, and their long knives are unsheathed and they are besieged. Han Ling wanted to run, but there was no way to rush out, only hard to pounce. The little evil sees that the enemy is better than me, and he can only use the game to take advantage of it, and these black market killers can't help him when he runs around. Suddenly, Han Ling's left shoulder had been wounded, and a wail rolled to the ground.